Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody. Welcome. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing
We're
well. How
so
about you?
good. I'm so excited to be back. As you guys know, I've been gone for a little while now, and I want to just take a moment to thank everybody for the prayers and the well wishes that they have been sending my way. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm just really excited to be here and to be back on stage. And I'm going to get into this little kiki here in a second, but I just want to say welcome to hashtag Black LinkedIn, the digital cookout revival, because I'm back. Thank you so much for attending. We're hoping that you brought your own plate because I would hate it if you would have to smell mine. I'm your host, Patricia S. Gatlin, the curator behind hashtag BOKLIN. It's a rebrand, aka hashtag Black LinkedIn, where we're amplifying Black, Brown, and culture professionals. I hope one day we can all come together and do a real cookout. But until then, let us know in the chat if you are team live or if you are team replay. Doesn't matter either one. You're all family over here at the digital cookout. But the disclaimer we want to propose here is that any information that is in this live today is only for the purposes of general purposes and not legal, constituted as legal advice. It is not a substitute for advice from any qualified attorney. You should consult with an attorney for any specific legal advice related in regards to your situation. And so I'm going to give the opportunity and the floor to my co-host and let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa, and I'm glad to be here. I am the founder of Link Results, and specifically, I'm an HR researcher and evaluator, and I help businesses to maximize employee performance via the use of evaluation to ensure return on investment of HR initiatives. I've been writing for hashtag Black LinkedIn. How long have I been doing this? It feels well. It feels like forever.
It's like 6 months or so.
Yeah,
You've been in the loop, but she's been with us from the beginning, and we really do appreciate her so much.
And I'm just glad.
All right. Thank you. We're glad to have you. Thank you, everybody who's chiming in the chat. We see you. We have a team live from Tony. So happy to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us today. This post Juneteenth event, right? We're revitalizing something from a previous year, but we're happy to have you all. So the theme for today's topic of conversation is African American art, and how it is infused with African, Caribbean, and the Black American lived experience in the fields of visual and performing arts, literature, fashion, folklore, language, film, music, architecture, and culinary and other forms of cultural expression, including entertainment and sports. The African American influence has been paramount. Artistic and cultural movements such as the new Negro, Black arts, Black Renaissance, hip hop, Afrofuturism have been led by people of African descent and set the standard for popular trends around the world. In 2025, we examine the varied history and life of African American in the arts and African American artisans. And so, with that being said, that leads introduction to our guest today, which is DomoINK, Domonique Brown, as you might know her, as well here on LinkedIn. And so, thank you so much for coming on with us. And hopefully sharing your story with us, Domonique. And yeah, feel free. This is your opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm so happy to be a part of this. Who knew that me and Patricia just meeting at CultureCon would lead to this moment? So this is the importance of connection and networking. So my name is Domonique Brown. I am the owner and founder of, but artist and founder of DomoINK. So DomoINK is a lifestyle brand and design studio that offers art, home decor, apparel, collectibles, jewelry, everything. I just basically wanted DomoINK to be a one-stop shop for Black culture, but it's now grown to where it has been able to appeal to a variety of demographics, to where we've been able to have limited edition collections at Walmart that's currently in store right now. We have a hair accessories line, so if you're ever inside a Walmart, get your bonnet, put it on. Also, I was in Target Black History Month, home goods, you name it, as I continue to push for more Black artwork, even inside retail and even in campaigns where I've been able to partner up with Samsung and a variety of organizations. A little bit of background on me is that even though I have DomoINK, I still work as a 9-to-5er, like many of you that are in this chat. Right now, I work as a social media manager for Tomb Raider, which is a video game. If you probably don't know, if you remember the movie with Angelina Jolie, that's what I'm overseeing. So, quick background. I'm excited to talk more in this live stream with you guys today at the Digital Cookout.
Yay.
Awesome. Yay. Again, the resume is long, okay? It is thick. And yes, I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to meet you at CultureCon. As you knew, I was immediately already a fan and could pick out your art from anywhere. I'm a lover of Black art and Black artistry. And so, yeah, when I saw you, I was like, I have to go over, and I was like, I love this piece. You were like, it's $10,000. And I was like, oh my God. Maybe not today, but one day I will get there.
One day.
One day. I said, one day I'm gonna reach out to you and say, this is the art piece that I want to purchase. But absolutely just have been, following your journey and just in love with your vision of how, and as we talk about this topic, that you showcase Black artistry today, but through the lives of the African-American lens or the Black lens in general. And I was just floored, and I couldn't believe that you accepted the invitation to come on and speak with us. And so I think my co-host is going to ask you all in the chat to make sure that you're also dropping your locations.
Yes.
Please make sure that you get a chance to do that.
Yes, let us
Drop
know
your yeah, let us know where you are in the world. We're interested. Maybe that'll be the next stop of Domo's art exhibit or something like that. And also, we'd love to know here at hashtag Black LinkedIn too. Eventually, we hope to go on our own tour and meet all of our LinkedIn cousins out there. And so please feel free to, if you have any questions of DomoINK, to drop them in the chat as well. We might stop and put your question up on the screen and get that answer for you. And so with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into these questions. The first thing we want to talk about with DomoINK is, what is the common misconception about artists, but also specifically Black artists today?
I think the biggest misconception is that we can only draw Black. I think that is something that I think as an artist, we get pigeonholed a lot in that, to where if I am pitching to a brand, they only see me as a Black artist. They only can see me for Black History Month. They only can see me for a Juneteenth campaign, not recognizing that we can do any kind of time. Like you can reach out to us to illustrate whatever you're looking for. I think a lot, that's like a huge misconception that we're only good for those times.
Yeah. I think that in general, right? Like that's the misconception of, if you do one thing or you're locked in as one thing, then people only remember you, right? And I love the fact that, to me, you are so active on your social medias, right? Across platforms, even with LinkedIn, right? Which is a primary focused on like business and all that kind of stuff. You're still here showcasing through the different seasons and different months how your art is so relatable. And I love that. And so I feel like it really pulls back into that into this conversation. I think my next question would go ahead.
I also love how your website, it showcases your diversity. So everyone, please check out her website. She has so much dope stuff on there, and it calls to so many different things and eclectic ideas. And I love that. From like me, I'm a former chef, so like cutlery and dishes and stuff, to not just painting. So it goes for anyone and whatever you fancy. So Please check that
Yeah,
out.
it's definitely a lifestyle brand for sure.
Mhm.
It's not just about hanging art on your wall, but he even has like pillows and stuff for your couches. I love interior design, and I'm just like, I just love seeing that. So yeah, and just earrings. I think that was the new flex that came out. I saw a couple.
Yeah. So like my new
Yeah.
thing has been like I have like hot comb
Ooh,
earrings
that's a
that
hot
have been
comb.
like the top seller.
Yeah.
I feel like I wanted to turn my trauma into something beautiful because I'm like, who has not dealt with your ears getting burned by your mom trying to do your hair? Could be a grandma, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna turn this little moment into something
And
happy.
you definitely did. Yeah, yeah. I saw that and I was like, I just love that. Like, it's so black. It's such a black thing.
I'm like, it's
It
coming your way.
definitely,
It's coming to your house. Let me know.
right. I was like, I love it. I love it. So with that being said, what does becoming an artist look like in today's society, right? Because it is, when we do think about artists, we think about Renaissance and all these different eras, but I think we kind of glaze over the concept of a Black artist today and what that journey looks like. Does it emulate past journeys for you in some ways? As I'm sure you study artistry, right?
Yeah.
Did you talk about your degrees? But I'm pretty sure you studied artistry enough.
Yes.
Is there still some residual in the development of a Black artist, maybe from a different time period to kind of where you are now?
Yeah, I will say the journey of a Black artist is totally different compared to how it was back in the day. I feel like back in the day, it was like you just had to be in an art gallery and the right person had to walk in and see you. I think now, how I've been able to grow as an artist has been through social media a lot of times, to where I've been able to get that attention. Like I think like for my Samsung collaboration, they were like, "Hey, we were looking for a Black artist, so we just went on Target.com and saw you." Something so simple as that. The internet allows you to basically create a destiny that other artists couldn't do so back then. You had to have that connect. I think for me, I didn't grow up with no celebrity friends or any connection, so all of my work has just been through my own networking and meeting people like you, Patricia, me, you, Lisa, and been able to keep that going to where I've been able to do these kind of partnerships. And even then, even compared to like, let's say Kerry James Marshall, Basquiat, Bisa Butler, like a little bit like they're older artists, but their journey was different compared to mine because they had to get into these galleries, meet these curators to put them in these in LA Times, New York Times, now it's like with us having the internet, if you get that one viral post and that one brand sees you, then you can blow up.
So as an artist, do you feel like in a way that your art was a viral sensation at some point and that kicked off your career? Or what would you say was the thing that kicked off your career? We know that social media plays into it so much, but also does your career in itself, like what you're doing now, did that play into it? Because I know you have a beautiful story about kind of work and deciding to be an artist and kind of go in your family. And I just kind of want to dig into that a little bit more of like how that really came to be what it is today.
I will say I don't think I've ever been that viral sensation. I think for me, I think I've been lucky to where I think I've always cared about my craft in a sense. I think there's a lot of artists who are kind of like they're able to do like digital work and everything, but I think for me, I've always studied it. I think I'm really in. It's not like I'm bragging in a sense, but I think for me, I like to study Black art, Afro, Caribbean, and kind of like be able to create artwork that is not so boxed in. I think for me, like I like to do portraiture. I'll do an abstract piece. Like you said, I do pillows. I do everything. I think by making myself so diversified as an artist has allowed me to be able to do all these kind of different partnerships, to be able to have DomoINK to where it's relatable across, because Black is not a monolith, as we always say. So I'm always trying to look to how I can relate to the Africans, to Black people in general, and also to outside, because a lot of people enjoy Black culture, as you see. So I'm always trying to study that. So I think when people come across my artwork, is not because like, oh well, she has 100,000 followers, I want to pick her up for that, which I don't have. I think people really pick up my artwork because they see the work behind it. They understand that there was thought put behind it, because I'm trying to push a certain message of, I always try to push a positive imagery of Black people, Black women, men, children. So I think people just kind of relate to it.
Yeah, definitely relate to it in the relation, because I know you said your family has something to do with your art, right? Or am I missing something? I've listened to a couple of your other interviews, right? Because what I enjoy about your art the most is that you show the safe spaces that we're in. Like, even if it is, you know, with our hair, it is our most vulnerable, but our most communified pieces through these artworks. And then even the way we look at certain things, like an artist ourselves. I think you did DMX, my friend Nipsey, in LA, the way you showcase LA, even, right, as somebody's from there as well. There are just nuances in some of those images that if you only really understand the importance that if you were Black, right, and you live there, or if you were Black and you have an experience of that person's music, or an experience of growing up in a Black household. So how is that related to, like, how does your family show up? Because I know there's some imagery of yourself and maybe even your partner. Like, how important is that for you to pull from your own family and your own legacy as you're creating this artwork?
Yeah, thank you. I think it really comes down to my parents and my grandma. I think like they were always like creative forces in my life. Like my parents, I think me seeing my parents be those kind of like a hustler in a sense, to where they, like, my parents are postal workers, retired now, but they had their own side business. Their side business before was painting sculptures. They would buy just straight white like figurines, and then they would paint on Be Black, and then sell them at different places. And then for my grandmother, she still living to this day, she was a seamstress. She sewed for like Stevie Wonder, movies, she did everything. So I think seeing her, as right now she's like 90, in her 90s now, to be able to make those kind of moves in a time to where, like, you know, like civil rights, all that, to be able to make those kind of moves in that time, inspired me to, like, if she was able to break those kind of ceilings and jump over those hurdles, why can't I, you know, as a creative? For her, she learned how to sew on her own. She didn't get to go to school. I had the opportunity to do so. So I think seeing my parents, seeing my grandma be able to make these kind of moves for themselves, to basically create stuff that they weren't able to see in their own home. I guess see in their own space, like I said, like the figurines. You couldn't buy Black figurines out of the store back in the day.
Right.
My grandma couldn't get that kind of stuff that was reflective of her back in the day, so she was making it herself. So I think now I'm like the next generation of creating stuff that we can't still find in stores, as you see now with DEI rollbacks, they're pulling that stuff back out. So I think so I still I feel like that's a mission that I took it on for myself, trying to be a servant for the community and creating things that we can't find.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Lisa, do you want to add anything? And
I was
sure there's some questions you want to ask.
How DEI rollbacks and all of that, how that's impacted you. And like, I know you've been able to create your own platform outside of the conglomerates that you work with. But for someone that's looking at becoming an artist or currently an artist and maybe not as established, what advice would you have for them and how they could deal with how things are changing? And what advice do you think you could give for them?
I think the biggest thing as an artist is to not forget your why. I think for me, I started DomoINK in 2020. Like, and then I was doing all these partnerships with all these big brands. And now we're in a space to where a lot of these brands can't do so. They can't do a Juneteenth campaign. They're not trying to do Black History Month campaigns. So in this year, I've seen a lot of doors get shut. I had this huge momentum last year where I was doing a Walmart commercial. I partnered with the Rams. I partnered with Gabrielle Union for Ipsy campaign. Now we're in a space to where a lot of brands are not trying to do those kind of things, trying to elevate Black artists, highlight Black art, or just Black creatives in general. I think in this kind of space, I think for me, it was easy for me to make that pivot because I knew what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's good to be like happy to have those kind of big moments, like you said, with these conglomerates. But at the same time, even without those moments, I'm still an artist.
Yes.
I still like to create. I still like to create things for the community. So I think as an artist, it's like always remember your why, regardless of what's happening. Like if, hey, the art isn't selling well, remember that you became an artist not to sell, you became an artist to express yourself. So always remember what you're trying to do as an artist and stick to it no matter what's going on in the economy. Just always learn how to pivot.
Wow, I love that. That advice was phenomenal. I'm sure there are people who be on Team Live or Team Replay, and that will really, really resonate with them. And I think because of that, I'm glad that you brought that up, because we're now moving on to the section where I really want to talk about the difference between, you know, the entrepreneur and the creator. And we've heard so much about the creative side behind you know, your brand, but we also want to hear a lot about the entrepreneurial side, which I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. Where, you know, back in the day, they weren't really on the you know, IP trademarking, intellectual property types. You know, it was like, I'm gonna write my name on the side of my artwork, I'm gonna write my name on the back of my artwork, right? And that was your IP, right? That was your trademark. That's how you got somebody else to see it, and hopefully they also wanted to purchase your art as well. And so with that being said, can you talk a little bit about just a little bit about behind the scenes of being an entrepreneur of your business and the creation of that in some way, like your IP, maybe a little bit about that. Was that a process for you? We know that you have ownership right now. I know that there's even been some complications sometimes with even changing your name, but can you talk a little bit about the frustrations of, you know, not just being an artist and just being able to be creative, but also protecting that creative, right? So that other people don't take advantage of that.
Yes, I will say, I think a big thing as an artist is that when you're posting your artwork online, you're putting yourself up for risk for someone stealing it. Even this happened to me, especially during, like, right after George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, their murders. It happened so quickly because it was a huge movement where a lot of like news media were highlighting Black businesses. So obviously the scammers come in to play, because they're like, oh my God, we see that Black artists selling like hotcakes, let's come in. So it was like me and a lot of different artists were getting counterfeited, where people were stealing our images off the internet and just creating fake stores and just taking people's money. When that happened, that taught me about how to protect my image. Like, instead of just posting my artwork just flat out on the internet, put a watermark on it. Little things like that can deter someone from wanting to steal it. Obviously, now we're working in an age of AI, which is a whole nother level of creative stealing. So I think the big thing for me was I think the first start for me right now is trademarking DomoINK. As you probably know, trademarking takes a long time. So I put an application. I'm in the final stages of it. But if you have a brand name, anything, please trademark it, because people will try to take that. And especially when it's starting to get movement, I've seen people make fake pages of me to be able to scam people. Like I like you mentioned Nipsey before, our friend Nipsey. I had like a crazy case where somebody took that drawing I did of Nipsey, photoshopped my name off of it, and was telling people, oh, I made the Nipsey, and was charging people $500, and they never got the piece, never got anything they got. So I think as an artist is always try to protect your work. I think at the same time, it's still a possibility of someone taking it, but you definitely need to work with a lawyer, get your artwork copyrighted. So when these things happen, you're not just sending a message to this website like I was back then saying like, hey, can you like take this down? Like, no, you need cease and desist power to where if you don't take this down, we will be seeing you in court, because you're not going to profit off my artwork or scam people and mess up my image as an artist.
Yeah, I love that you know, you're putting out there, because, you know, some people think this might be easy. This is something that I want to go into, right? I'm a great artist, right? And I want to, you know, share my work with other people. And then they don't understand the logistics behind things. Now, everything has become very, very legal, right? And again, like you said, you have an image to uphold yourself. And so it could be AI, it could be bots, it could be somebody from a whole different, you know, universe at this point. trying to steal your artwork, right, to gain profit off of it. And I think when you get bigger, it's synonymous with a certain brand, and people recognize that. Some people are just excited to be like, oh, this is, and they don't even check the URL, and they don't even check all the other things to make sure that it's even you. And then you get those emails later and they say, hey, so, this happened to me or whatever. And then you're kind of stuck, in a tough spot where you then, you can't, it's hard to handle it on your own. And you do need a lawyer to kind of come up and send out those cease and desist and follow up and do all of those things, just to protect yourself, protect your brand and your artistry as you kind of move forward. And so that was a super important part here that we did want to talk about, is like, yeah, it's great to be a creator. It's great to be an artist, but also make sure that you are protecting yourself with whatever might be available to you. And having an attorney is a big part of that.
Yeah,
for sure. And having your copyright. Dr. Lisa, you want to add anything on to that?
Yes, I love that Patricia. She knows when I have something to say. That's why we're here. But yes, I was thinking, and we're speaking on artistry, and I think it's important that we highlight that our ideas are our artistry. And for those that aren't considering themselves as creators or anything like that, anything that you're doing here on LinkedIn or even within the workspace, just your job in general and your thoughts that you're bringing to the workplace, that's your artistry. That is your intellectual property. So everything that Domonique is speaking about shows that you need to protect it and find ways to even be even more creative and use your artistry to inspire others. So I think that that's really important, that we all recognize that we are our own artists and we are bringing beauty to the world through our thoughts. That's all. Oh, you're on mute. I don't hear you.
Sorry, I'm so glad that you said that. I love every word of that, because we are artists of our own lives, even, right? Yeah. Artists of the way that we interact with other people. But as Black people, we know that we are culture shifters, right? We are change makers, right, out there in this world. We are from, our ancestors' wildest dreams in a lot of these situations. And I feel like, Domonique is definitely shifting conversations when you look at her artwork. If you haven't had a chance to, again, check it out, please make sure that you head over to her website and do that, or even over to any of her social media pages. It is inciting conversations, again, about the safe spaces that we have as Black and brown people, and how that is being depicted through art. And that's over generations amongst generations. But to see the new wave of artists come in and to kind of make those changes and be so in tune with, whether it be a millennial or a boomer or even a Gen Z, I feel like your artwork is so transgenerational, and it's so effective that when you see it, you know who it is, who the art, and we love that, right? Like sometimes you look at art and you're like, I'm not sure that's who I think it is. But with your art, as soon as I see it, I know that is my friend. And I was on social media, and one of my favorite interior designers had posted one of your pieces of art, and I messaged you, and I was like, "Did you know so has your art?" In her own personal home design, and I was messaging her too. She's like, "Yeah, I absolutely adore her. I love her work." And it's just, it feels so good, to see other people really cling so tightly to the work that you are creating, and to see that it is so impactful. People want it in their homes, right? Like, isn't that like amazing as an artist to know that your artwork will live on beyond you, right? Like,
it's a trippy feeling. I don't think I could ever get used to it. I think a big thing people always say about me, I'm very humble, and I'm trying to break out of it, try to be a little bit more egotistical, but I just, like, I don't know, I'm not that kind of person still. But it's still really cool when someone tags me or I just find it in the wild in somebody's house. It is so trippy because there's so much art in the world. Like, you can go to your local store and buy some artwork, but for the fact that you took the time to order from me in any kind of capacity and put it in a frame and hang it up, and I don't know, it's just it's trippy. I don't think it's something I'm ever get over. It's so cool.
That's cool. So I'm going to kind of move a little bit into talking about our hot topic, and then I'm going to circle back a little bit to talk about your partnerships, which I think is phenomenal, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna route. I think we should end and route that out on a happy note. But one of the hot topics right now, obviously, with the new trend of Black artistry and ownership, there was a quote from Cheryl Grace. She was a senior VP, vice president of the U.S. Strategic Community Alliances and Consumer Engagement at Nelson, and she had this to say, and I love this quote. She said, "African American influence has long resonated across cross-culturally and is now being delivered directly from creator to consumer. Give talented, creative people unobstructed access to the world stage, and inevitably they will shine." And I saw this quote and I said, if this is not Domonique, I don't know who it is. But I wish you would hang this on your wall, because you are literally the definition of exactly what Miss Grace is saying here. And even as you talked about your transition and as you grew as an artist, even though you are still a working professional, this really embodies that so much. And so the hot topic being, I want to dismantle the myth behind who is considered an artist versus who is considered a Black artist, right? I remember in the John Basquiat film, he said, "I am not a Black artist, I am an artist." And my follow-up to that is, but you are a Black person, right? You are a Black professional who is an artist and who creates art, whether it be Black art or otherwise. But I would love to know, as a hot topic, putting you in the hot seat, how do you define yourself? And I think as Black people, we have to kind of get used to knowing that Blackness is not a monolith, and allowing each other to define ourselves. And so the hot topic here is, who for you is considered, who is considered an artist versus a Black artist, and then how do you see yourself?
I had a discussion before. I think it's so hard to make the separation, because at the end of the day, I am Black. When you see me, that's what you're gonna see first. You see I'm Black, that's just what it is. That's the world that we live in, where race plays an important factor, especially during this administration right now. So I think it's hard to make that separation, but I understand what you're trying to say. I think someone had a good point, was like, when you think of Vera Wang, do you say she's an Asian artist? You just think of her as Vera Wang, So I think it's good to tell people I'm an artist. I don't introduce myself as, "Hi, I'm Domonique Brown, I'm the Black artist." I'm like, "Hey, I'm an artist." I think when it comes down to, like, obviously, like a news organization is highlighting you, or a brand, that is something that they're going to throw in front of it. Like, "Hey, this is a Black artist." Especially when it comes to like Black History Month, But I think it is good. I understand where Basquiat's coming from. It's like, that's nice to say, be like, "Hey, Black artist," but I am an artist. Like, take away the titles. I am a creative. Because I think a lot of times when you put Black in front of it, that's when that box starts happening, to where people start only thinking of you as only being able to do things in relation to Black celebrations, Black culture, which doesn't happen to other artists. I've seen other artists in different races be able to do an illustration for Essence. They're a white artist, and illustration from. As an example, I don't know if Essence actually did, but as an example, but they are
right.
Talk to us. What you say? But no, I mean, like, they've been able to cross those lanes. Like, nobody's gonna fall if they do an illustration illustration of Black people. But if I was, but they're not gonna think of me to be able to do an illustration of white people celebrating 4th of July. They're only gonna think of me to do a drawing of a celebration of Juneteenth. So I think that's why it's good, like, for like Basquiat and other artists in the past have said, stop just only thinking me as my race. Look at my work and understand that I can do so much more. Yes. I think that's the summary.
I love that. And with you saying that about public, has there, for you personally, maybe not having said it before, have you felt a little bit of residual around that sometimes when they are publicizing you and promoting you, even in art galleries, because you've been in a few? Is there any kind of communication around the fact, like, because you own your own, you're getting your trademark, you're doing all this thing, where you can say, this is how I want to be represented, and they accept that? Or has there been times, like you said, in the news where it's like they're just going to put Black in front of it, there's nothing that I can do about it? Like, have you had an experience with, let me push back on that just a little bit, or have you kind of just been like, I'm going to lean in, let them do their thing, but when I do my publications or my social media or my whatever, I'm going to depict myself in this kind of tone, in this kind of way?
No, it makes sense. I'll say that it doesn't bother me. Like if someone was to say, "Hey, you're a Black artist," like I'm proud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Black. I'm proud of it. You know, I think, especially with how Black focused my work is, so I'm not surprised someone would think of me just as a Black artist. I think when it comes down to my work, if I'm partnering up with somebody with a brand, I want them to allow me to have that freedom to express what this project is, instead of kind of like thinking stereotypical in regards to what Black art is. I think that's when I'll speak up and be like, let's not do that. But in regards to like titling me as a Black artist, it doesn't offend me. But I just don't want them to only think of me as only creating Black stuff. I can create a lot of different things. As I spoke before about the Goody collaboration, like this bonnet could be done by any artist. It doesn't say there's no Black face, no Black faces, like African. There's nothing to it. But that's why I kind of want to push, like, yeah, I'm a Black artist, but I can do so much more. I can create patterns. I can illustrate a variety of races. Just that's cool to call me that, but know that I can do so much more than what you're thinking.
Now, when you, as you're presenting yourself, when you're going into talks with businesses, is that something you straight up say and put in contracts and things like that during the negotiation stage, or is it just go along with as you're working on the new idea and beginning the creating process?
Is it mean like for like the contract? Is it like saying like I have creative freedom? Is that
yes, or just not them specifically just labeling you as this Black artist as if that's all you are?
Oh yeah, no, I think like when I was younger, I was kind of just like, hey, I'm happy I have a contract in front of me, you know. I wouldn't fight so much, but now when I do contracts, I really push for them to please put my name. Like, don't just be like, hey, art done. Like, don't, like, I always fight for the credit of it. Most times I never seen someone just like just straight label me as like, art by Black artist Domonique Brown. Is always like art by Domonique Brown. That's something I always push. I think obviously I know like some brand partnerships want to speak on like what I am, because a lot of these partnerships are in relation to pushing for diversity, highlighting women artists. So they like to speak on your race, speak on where you came from. I think it's more about trying to like show the relatability of who was picked. So I think like for like my Goody collaboration, it like when it was in Walmart during Black History Month, Women's History Month, it said like Domonique Brown from Pomona, California. She's an African American artist. So when someone sees that, they see themselves in a sense. So like, wow, I can do this too. So I can see where it can come off as a negative, but at the same time, I can see in a sense to where it's relatable because it's showing like other diverse people, like, yeah, you can do this too. Do not think that there's a ceiling for you. You can keep going and you can have your own dreams and do things as just like I'm doing.
I like that. Have you seen a shift or noticed a shift since now we have the DEI pushback? Do you feel that it's more just, oh, she's just an artist, and so it's just artist now?
I think it's I'll say that there's less opportunities, unfortunately, in a sense, because brands are not looking to capitalize on these big moments anymore. I think now they're trying to not rock the boat in a sense. They don't want to be targeted by the administration, which is fair. But I think in a sense to where now it's more about, like those kind of opportunities are gone, but now there's other opportunities where you can, like you said, like you are an artist. Like the Black artist trend may be kind of halted right now, but there's a lot of doors opening as an artist, period, to where you can apply and get that project.
With that being said, I love that we're on the partnerships. We're on the DEI topic. And this is kind of what we want to get to, right? The meat and potatoes right here. Is that you've done a couple of different partnerships. And if we talk about Target, Goody Hair, if we talk about FX, right? Is it Snowfall? I'm sorry, I did not watch the show.
Snowfall.
and even Samsung. Like, these are major. And then you just did that collaboration with Gabrielle Union, and we saw that artwork. Can you talk us through a little bit of, is it the ones back then, and we're also talking about the ones now, are you still collaborating in receiving partnership deals? And is it difficult to do partnership deals, and do you have support when it comes to those partnerships and contract creating? Like, do you have an attorney or somebody? Are you under management, or are you still a solo entrepreneur? Which we know you're not completely solo. We're gonna give a shout out to your partner who's also there and helping to support you as well. But can you walk us through a little bit about partnership? Do they come to you? Do you pitch yourself to these persons as well? Like, how does that transpire? Because obviously we live in the digital creator age. Everybody wants to land partnership deals, right? And they may not understand that there's good and there's bad. Can you talk about a little bit about both of those things?
Okay. Yeah, I'll say partnerships is such a tricky situation, right? Okay, so I've been lucky to where a lot of partnerships have came my way, but at the same time I have pitched myself as well. I think it's good to think of yourself. Like, I think for me, I got training through working through commercial real estate. I did marketing for multiple agents, so I would see them make them cold calls and get those I guess not really brand deals, but like real estate deals. So that's something that I applied to my own business, is like, you kind of have to put yourself out there, because people don't see you. There's people, I'll be, you go somewhere and someone starts taking pictures of some random person and you be like, who is that? And then you look them up and that person got 1 million followers on YouTube and you ain't never heard of them a day in your life. So you have to think about yourself in that same sense. Like, you may think like, oh yeah, I got all this stuff going on. People don't know who you are most times, but the way for people to know you, got to put yourself out there. You got to pitch yourself. In regards to me having an agent, I do not have an agent. I want one. So anybody's on here knows and call me. I would love to, but at this current moment, no. I think right now I'm in this pivot to where I'm like, I see that opportunities are not as plentiful as in that sense. But I took it as a way of like, hey, the Black History Month campaigns, Juneteenth campaigns are slower now, but I am an artist. I've been asking myself for this free time in my life to where I've been able to start creating more artwork for myself, start creating more artwork for DomoINK. So I have a lot of products that are coming out soon. So that's where I'm at right now, I'll say.
And do you also take commission work as well? If somebody wants to reach out and say, hey, I want to have a portrait done. Like, I need to have my portrait done. And from DomoINK, is that something that you're also considering either now or maybe even in the future?
I do. I really would like to pick a commission work, but I feel like since I'm in this space to where I kind of just want to create, I think like last year and in the years before, brand partnerships are so cool. But they do take a lot of time to do. Like, you can see like I guess like for Target Black History Month, it wasn't like it was just like it was in the store the next day. Like, that partnership was over a year span of submitting artwork, going through samples, approving things. It was so much to it. Samsung was months long. I think it started in March. I think it ended in like end of the year, and it was me doing the press, all that. So during that time, with me still being a working professional, when do I have time to create for myself? So I think right now I'm in this kind of cool space to where I've been able to like create more fun things for myself. But yeah.
No, I love that. I'm glad you finally like gave us a little snippet of like partnerships take time, right? They're not just like, okay, they gave me something and they want it in 3 weeks and then they give it to me, I give it to them in 3 weeks. And there's a lot of back and forth that goes on behind the scenes. And I'm glad that you're telling artists, hey, this is what really happens and kind of transpires. And we know like they never pay on time. Okay. So like,
it's always something, right? It's always something. That's why I tell artists. That's why we tell artists too. I'm like they'll reach out to me like, or how do I get in Target and stuff? I'm like, I get it. I understand you want that accomplishment. I'm gonna help you, in that sense. But in the long run, you need to build your own table. Like, it's like, you need to have your own table, because as you see now with all these rollbacks and these organizations going along with it, How many artists don't have any income right now? I see them, they're in my DMs telling me. So that's why it's like super big to not get so dependent on these big deals, which is really cool. But you need to have your own business. You need to have, it's either you have your own business or you have your own career going, because you do not want to live under the gun like this. Like I would tell anybody, because people are like,
you don't want to be paycheck to paycheck.
or right, or when
brand
you
deal to brand deal,
right? Because like you said, because some of these brand deals they pay net 90. That's 3 months. You're working in this time span. You're spending money on material. You're then you gotta wait that net 90. You might not have that time. So a lot of people be like, why do you work, Domonique? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Because I like to have a roof over my head. I like to I like not living.
I like benefits. I like medical. At this point in my life,
it's expensive. Yeah,
we know Patricia needs her medical, so we're going to our job. Okay. So yeah, I think that is super important to highlight as well, that you are still working and your companies are okay with you still working right now, and the company that you're with is working and still being an artist. And was that a conversation that you even had with your current company? Because I know a lot of people are, have had issues in the past, and we've seen a couple of influencers, right, where it was stated to their businesses like, hey, I'm a creator, I'm an influencer, I'm an artist, and they're letting them go, right, because it's in their contract that there's a conflict of interest or whatever that is. Could you speak on that a little bit? If you're okay with speaking on that, I know how your company feels, but I mean, you're obviously an artist and you're obviously working at the same time.
Yeah, I think a good thing is as a creative is to separate your job from your side hustle, your business. Because for me, I think a healthy thing for me is I do not bring my business up during meetings or anything. That is not a discussion piece. I'm like, I am an employee just like everybody else. I think it's a good way to keep people from feeling weird about you, feeling like, hey, okay, I didn't get this project today. Is it because Domonique was working on DomoINK? I don't want that to be a discussion piece at all. So I keep my business very separate. I freelanced for one company and they kind of made an issue out of it, even though I never talked about it. But there is a sense of where people feel like you're not working, or I mean, honestly, there's a jealousy component as well. So I think it's always good as an artist to find, or a creative, and you have a side business, please apply for the job that will appreciate it, that will not see it as a problem, because it's not going to work out for you in the long run. Because if they're going to fight with you over your business that has nothing to do with you, imagine you have kids, they will be fighting you over that too, because
right.
So it's like you don't want to work for a job that does not understand that you have a life outside of it. Just period. So for any job that was like that was weird about me having a life outside of my 9 to 5, I just always left, because it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm fortunate. Yeah, I'm fortunate now to be in a role to where there's never been a discussion piece, because I work. So I don't think should ever be a discussion. But yeah, always find a job that respects that you have a life. That's the summary.
Right. Dr. Lisa, you want to add anything? HR?
I'm shaking my head.
Yeah. HR commentary.
As we all know, the world is filled with poor leadership and poor leaders. A lot of them overseeing this country right now. And it's a mess, honestly. And that's just them it's the micromanagement of trying to control every aspect of what people are doing. We see it with the pushback of DEI, pushback of remote work, we're pushback of just whatever you're trying to do that makes you a true individual, even though you're not bringing it into the workspace. It's to damper that light, that creativity that's within you. So for anyone that's dealing with that, you just need to remove yourself from that space. On a legal aspect of it, of course, HR and the business, they have a right that they can say that if they do not want you to have a job outside of the job that you're working, they have that right to do that. Do I think it's fair? No. It's not conflicting with the work that you're doing for a company. That's the only reason you should be being judged on, as they say, your merit. Love that word. But, you know, this is the world that we live in. So as Domonique said, you know, remove yourself from that space. And there's really not much that you can do in regard to that. You know, there's not really any law that says it, well, depending on what state you're in, you know, you may have some at will, you know, protection there. But outside of that, and then a lawsuit, I know here in Virginia, they can pretty much just let you go at will. So that goes into your state as well, and city, county, wherever you live. But pretty much a business can have that overall control over you. And so you as an employee, you have to really recognize and become aware of where you are putting your greatness, your creativity, and your intellectual property, right? You are your own brand. Does the business that you're working with, does it align with you and your spirit and your brand? And that's something that you have to remember and constantly think about as you continue on your journey of just creating greatness in the world. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. Yes, listen, if you're going to be a creative, or you know, you want to go into creative market or be an influencer, and I'm speaking as an HR professional as well myself, please make sure that you read your handbook. Please understand your conflict, you know, disclosure agreements. If you don't understand them, please seek out a lawyer again, or seek out your company's legal team and ask them, hey, I'm a part of this and I participate in this. You know, is this a conflict of interest? Can I not do this? Because sometimes it's about money too. Sometimes they have a stipulation on how much money you can make outside of working at that job. But ask the right people the right questions. Do not do it. Do not be afraid, and do not hold it off until the last minute. The earlier you do it, the earlier you take care of it, the less impact it might have on you in regards to maybe having to leave that job, or as I like to say, maybe even putting it on pause, right? Maybe you need your job right now. Maybe you need them healthcare benefits. You know, maybe you need that 401k to build out a cushion so that if you did get let go from that job, you can use that to put it into your creative endeavors, right? So that you have a cushion to build that business on. And so I just highly encourage you, please do not be scared. If you don't want to talk to your company about it, you can also go to other legal professionals that are close to your company and know something of that business and say, hey, this is what I'm considering. This is what I'm thinking about. These are our company policies. Can you at least review this? They might charge you a consultancy fee and all that other kind of stuff. But again, is it worth knowing or getting fired for it later, right? Like, I know, let me stop doing what I'm doing, or I don't know, and then they fire me, and then I'm without a job, and I haven't had enough time to foresee what could happen. And I'd rather have a foresee, okay, this could happen, and prepare myself versus not. And so anyways, that's what I want to say. Again, we are not giving legal advice here. But at the same time, we do want you to be smart as Black, brown, and cultural professionals out there. Domonique, we really, really appreciate you. Please let me know if you have any closing remarks. Let them know where to find you.
Okay.
Let them know where to check you out.
Okay. I can't leave comments on here, but I will say, like, my closing remarks, if you want to see more of my artwork, is to shop DomoINK.com. To spell it is DomoINK.com. Also, you always can just go on Google. You see my name right here, Domonique Brown. Put it on Google. I will pop up. You'll see my website. You want to follow me on Instagram directly. It's Domo the Creative. So DomoTheCreative. And also on Instagram, I have DomoINK as well as DomoINK, and also on TikTok at DomoINK as well. And you can always reach out to me. You can send me if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Instagram. You can send me an email through my website. I am here for anything else.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So be sure that you check out DomoINK and grab some of her merchandise online, or maybe even if you get a chance to kind of see her out in public, let her know that you met her through #BlackLinkedIn. Again, connect with your LinkedIn cousins here on LinkedIn so you can follow them and stay up to date. Dr. Lisa, is there anything else that you want to say as we kind of round out this Juneteenth? We hope you all had a wonderful Juneteenth and we're not working. We know some of you were working, but you shouldn't have been. But anything you want to say in regards to that, we greatly appreciate it.
Oh, I hope that this information inspired everyone to embrace their creativity and to not be afraid to say that they are creative. Even if you're working, don't be afraid to say that you are a creator and express yourself and spread that, spreading and giving that information and sharing that with the world helps you to grow and helps for the world to discover you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're super hyped. If you're super hyped to learn more about #Black LinkedIn, we are going to drop some great resources in our chat. If you don't know, we are going to be opening up our membership community. So a couple little announcements here and there. We are growing, everyone. Our team is expanding, and we're so excited to introduce you to our activists here at #Black LinkedIn as we get bigger. But we're also going to be opening our membership community up really, really soon. So make sure that you sign up. It is free. Get your Black card. We are also doing events. I was just at HBCU Week last weekend. I hope to be at the HBCU Yards for homecoming up here in the upcoming future. But if you see me out and about, ask me for a Black card. It'll give you a QR code so that you can access our website, which again, we'll be going through a couple of changes as we will be pushing out more articles, news and things on what's going on LinkedIn. If you're not involved on LinkedIn, you will be able to see it in our news feed and our newsletter, which will be rolling out very, very soon. Again, we appreciate your patience and your kindness during this difficult time. And we hope that you had a great holiday. Until next time, keep it Black, keep it brief, stay motivated, and stay mindful. Talk to y'all later. Bye. Take care, everyone. Thank you.